Hello and welcome. Right, we are obviously back on Pichonnière. It's true, because you're in a playlist. I know, I'm not going to go through it. I always keep doing this to myself and saying these things. Right, I have actually been really busy today. I've still not done the greenhouse, but I've done a lot. It was really bugging me, and I know it's amazing that the things that sometimes you think, is that really important? You know, like, it annoyed me, the Xylon box. So I went out and did it. It still caused me issues. I've, like, changed. I literally blended everything. And I thought, well, let's try something a little different. Let's melt the box into the body a little bit. And, you know, like, try to make the shape look quite interesting. Although, why has it got model errors then? If I did it as all one... Oh, you do get weird things going on. They don't always, even Blender and the Giants engine don't always like each other completely. I'm not sure whether I like it. It's like anything. It's different, and I think any kind of difference. I'm not good with change, so therefore I have to like let things talk to me for a while and say, yeah, no, I'm not sort of buying it. It doesn't release very well. I've sort of. And I do know how to do this, but I've got wides on, something that I never ever thought of. You know, the joules was never ever in the original equation, so therefore, I mean, it doesn't make any difference. It looks bad, yeah, because you can do that, but it looks awful. It's an awful dismount. It's an awful way of doing things. So I need like bigger legs. So this is going to be a challenge. I've never done anything. I might well do this myself to see if I can actually do it without any assistance. And I thought I'd change the modelling on it a little. Yeah, I might do the front boxes because I like that one at the front a lot. I've used it a lot, but I still like this one as well. So I thought, we want it to look different for people. So that's one thing I've done. Now, the other thing is, I did see another model that when I'd upgraded the i3D file, it didn't do the upgrade on the actual local copy, like it was still remembering the things before. So I'm hoping this has actually done the changes I've made, because I have put more lights in, and I've like been in. Oh no, it has done it. Yeah, no, it has got the light actually on the chain as well, and the light on the chain there. Yeah, all light chains. Excellent. Yeah, no, that's all looking good so far. Yeah, I'm pleased. Yeah, I thought I didn't need it, like, because I'd got the one above as well. I thought, you got that one up there. I mean, they're not fantastic, but they are not bad fluorescence. I think these are a little of overkill, but I thought, well, Giants put them there. They usually know what they're doing where lights are concerned. And yeah, this one is now showing, thankfully. And yes, you've got your light there, not just a chain. Ah, you've still got one empty chain. Now that's funny, because that's got two lights, not one. Right, so one casualty so far then. One of them was because the node would... No, I'm talking to you, ModSpeak now. Don't go into mod nodes and stuff like that. People don't want to know. No, you don't. Oh, now that is the first time I've noticed that the button, yeah, the wall is sort of in the wrong place, and isn't it? It needs to be, which is not a problem. Well, it is in a way. I can move the switch. Let's not move a wall for a switch. Let's move the switch for the wall onto this side, because what it is, I made a doorway, because mine's a much more simple thing, and I wanted it to be so, because if you start to add fancy electric doors that open and close by magic, trust me, the cost is going to go up. But you leave people a hole in the wall, which is otherwise known as a cheap door, then the bottom line is the cost can be kept low. So, and that's, this entire thing has been about making this a really reasonable barn deliberately, so that you can say, well, I can justify why this is so cheap, Giants, and that's, you know, what it's all about. Yeah, I've also finished the lorry. I've not done, yeah, I mean, that, I've got to be honest, nearly all of my morning was taken up with this, because this has been bugging me for a while, and I thought it's difficult to do as well. That's why it's taken me. I had to like bin my efforts 2 or 3 times because it didn't. I figured it out in the end, and it was something that was really useful to learn. Now you can use it's a trick in Blender, and it's called using something as a knife. It's where you use one shape to cut out into another shape. We want the baler. Let's at least do some work as we're like chatting. Yeah. So I've not done anything on this. I've not done anything on the Great Magic. To be honest, I've sort of just reported into work. I only felt like doing, and you might think, oh yeah, but what, mucking around in Blender? It sort of is in a way. That kind of work in Blender now for me is easy, just mucking around with shapes. The mental acuity, I would like to do, there's 2 or 3 quite large tasks that I'd like to do that I've not got the mental acuity to do. I can only do little things at the minute. I can't concentrate properly. So I thought, well, let's do what you can. You know, you feel like you want to do some modding, so do it. Just like crack on. So right, let me get this straw up, and we shall see what sort of size bale we get for this. Because yeah, I've obviously never done any straw yet in our baler. I'm glad I've done more modding in this last week though, of like new projects as well. Yeah, but again, a lot of this I've really wanted to do for a long time. Oh, and I have also, I think I mentioned it, replaced the trailer, and that I'm quite happy with. I've also extended how big it is and all the rest of it, and you can't really tell what its original. It is different. It's completely different from like what it originally was. So looks like we're going to be. I don't know how big a 180 straw bale is. Naturally. Right. Sorry, apologies. That came. I think that's right, isn't it? 11,000. I don't think that's anything bigger than. I'd have to compare it with the normal 180. That's the trouble. Put your pickup down. Make sure it should be down. And you have not started right. Let's do that again. Yeah, the one thing on this, you can't see your pickup go down and that, can you? You know, like your implements. It's the only thing with an inbuilt. I have to keep when I'm on. I have to like do that to sort of see that I'm actually. So sometimes you think, you know, having an all-in-one, it's absolutely amazing. It is, but like there's always a trade-off. Yeah, I love the fact that you can see your baler, like your pickup go down and up, because I always want that visual clue that I've actually having press buttons. And sometimes the button doesn't register, or the game's too busy and doesn't take any notice. I like the visual representation of the fact that I know that the button has been pressed. It's not going to take it long with that. Well, it's managing okay with the header. Yeah, I thought it struggled a bit with the 12.5. But actually, when you get Courseplay to do the course, it says it's a 12.2. Which actually the 12 meter also registers as a 12.22. So, ooh, is it going to attack me? Because they do like come back to a certain point. So let's yield to the harvester. Yeah. So to be honest, in the game, I think it is just the 12.2 header, but like it's been draperized. What are you doing? Where are you coming? Because you're scaring me now. Oh, you're doing your little faffy tricks, aren't you? There's nothing here. It's all been done. Now, Courseplay's as bad in its own way. It has these little tiny... I'm not having a go. I'm just saying. Like a system. Did you drop your... No, I didn't think I had. Yeah, all sort of systems, and of course you're systemizing something. So, am I moaning about? No. Well, I am, yeah, because obviously as a human, but this as a system, and this is what makes Courseplay so great, is the fact that it does systemize. But obviously that means there's a limitation as well. You know, you can't expect perfection, and I keep saying that. I'm not Oh. Not sure I like what I did with the that edging stuff. It sort of like looks like straw in a way. Right, I'd imagine it won't take it long before we need to push it onto the next field. I do love how amazing this is at turning. It is. I mean, there are some things that are definitely better about this kind of thing over a standard baler. I've never seen a baler be able to do that yet, or a tractor that can sort of turn that well. I've got to be honest, it would make a beautiful tractor. You know, like take the baler section away from this and you would have rather you'd like give the Sintrack a run for its money. It's got a low centre of gravity, almost on the floor. You may have a few problems with your hitch height though, a bit like the because the Sintrack, that's one thing where the Sintrack is really good for. Its height is a normal tractor. Now obviously we've been testing the BIAB, and although that's got a low centre, it was performing well with everything you would have expected it to be performing well with. You wouldn't have expected it to be able to like lift 1 million tons, because it's light. You know, what I mean is light tasks. It could do some heavy light tasks. You'd never expect it to. Well, I mean, it could even plough. It can do but you wouldn't expect it to tug a cultivator. If you tried to get that to like do a job of a John Deere 9RX, well, it'd come up short, because it wouldn't do it anyway, even at its top. But what I mean is, it wouldn't do it anyway because of its mass. Right, I think he's about done, or she. We know. So 7,019. Not brilliant, but then this is soybean. It's true. You wouldn't expect anything different, would you really? Right, so let's empty this huge amount. It's not a big field either, though, really, let's be honest. That's why I knew we needed more. And if not, I'll have to build a greenhouse that's that's the other thing I wanted with my greenhouses. If they were doing normal crop, I didn't want them to be ridiculous. You know, like where it's the one thing. I love Omatana's mods, but her greenhouses are insane, and her large gardens. You can outstrip an entire farm with one of the biggies, and I'm like, I like cheek, but I'm not quite sure that I can sort of justify this kind of cheek. It's a little bit too cheeky. I mean, I am not having a go either. She's great, and again, I did say this, Giants have given a lot of leeway. She's really loved, and she's a fantastic modder, and she is cheeky and always has been. And again, she started quite humbly. She didn't have animations in her things to begin with, and then she it's that front set she needs to like go on the. Yeah, now this is the one I tested with the this harvester, because it's got one of the lowest pipes. I tested my new auger, my very large trailer as I call it, and I have made it bigger than the actual. Let me show you. Yeah, so I'll do the two together so you can see what I'm on about. So then we have the original very large Bergman, which is only 50.75. Now the picture's wrong on mine, I realise that. I know we'll update that at some point. So like this is the sort of size of that, and this is the model that this is taken from, but this is like my interpretation of that. It's got bigger sides. It really has. It's not the same model. So it has got bigger. Yeah, it's a bit of a. I had to remesh the model, and it did those funny starey things. And I thought, well, sometimes you've got to go with like something that's a little different. Why not? Who's to say you couldn't have that kind of shape? So the thing it was taller than this slightly, and obviously it comes down to this low point for the harvester to put the pipe in, and I thought, well, I'd want to go by one of the lowest. The only thing I've got to do is the hubs. I don't want them as green because it's sort of like green and red. Well, although Fenton do it very well. Yeah, and I don't know why the imaging didn't take very well on the colour. You can see a tiny bit on that back section where it's all supposed to be that same modelling on that back thing. When I remeshed it, it didn't seem to take the colour anymore. It was a bit of a mess. It got a bit messy on me, the shape. And you're in the middle of a blender session, you've been at it a couple of hours, and you like think, well, it's just got to be what it's got to be. You've already been like busy doing these things. Again, these are basic shapes, so therefore, like those two that are like not joined, I will in time join them and make them so that they're seamless. But for now, it's just getting that basic thing, playing around with it, seeing if your fill level is okay and it doesn't come over the top or doesn't bleed out, all that type of thing. Because then sometimes you would adjust the metal, like those two loose bits, and you'd move them out or in a little bit to adjust. So it's useful to have a bit of fluidity when you're first doing it. So I do think the 77.8 is not really a thing of dreams, because it is an awful lot bigger than the Bergman. It is an awful lot bigger. It goes up an awful lot higher. Well, that's all like more like rubber, isn't it? Whereas mine is solid as well. So yeah, even if that was just a difference in itself, I like that though, because that makes sense on why harvesters can push it a little if it's rubber, but it wouldn't make much sense on why the grain wouldn't go past it from that side though, especially with those little V marks. Yeah, I'm not sure on that either. May as well have nothing. But yeah, that is it. There might be something else I missed as well, but you know, let's crack on. I'll crack on with the coughing fit, apologies. Right, let's crack on to our bigger field, which I don't think will be quite as quick as that. Can we might need the telehandler. The secret weapon in all farms where header placement is concerned, in fields where you can't always put things like right with your harvester. We might be able to do it. Let's have a go first without having to call in the cavalry. It does look like a fairly hefty thing. Another good thing about these bushy type things is that Blacksheep modding not only like makes it look really good, and they do look good. I mean, well, no one's trying to like say, oh yeah, it's as, no, it's not. We all know there's a bit of a trade-off going on here, right? So let's concentrate for a second, Mr. Smith, and 12.2 meter clear and load. We should get pretty lines in front of us. We have, and we want first waypoint. I think we've got away with it. Oh, here we go. Shut everything down. Seriously, you want to travel across the field with a draper? Oh, what? Oh, there's no collision on that. Right. Well, there you go. It knew that. Right, let's leave it. Let's crack on. We've got work to do. Now, we do need to take this, don't we? Because I think we're going to be filling this. Yeah, I would like to make a completely from scratch trailer. I was originally trying to use this, but I sort of thought, you know, what you really need is the trailer needs to be lower to the ground, and it needs lots of little wheels rather than like 4 monstrous big wheels, because those big wheels are partially responsible, or the wheels need to straddle on the outside of the thing so it can go really low. If you need a big trailer, you can't just suddenly mysteriously wallop and find size, you know, like what I mean is you can't just magic it up. I've got to be careful because it will, yeah, it'll still I probably will catch it out by that. It'll probably moan in a minute because I think I might be a bit too. Are we down? No, we weren't. Good job you checked. Now then, I've lost where my train of thought was going, because at the minute it's so easily to lose it. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. It's like day 6 of COVID and we're still feverish in the night, and I'm like, Gordon, that's your main indicator that you're still virulent. Is that the fact? Also, the other indicator is a bit, although no, I think the coughing can still go on for a while. The feverishness is the fact that, yeah, I thought you would say that. It might not be that blocked. Give it a minute. Stop being Mr. Impatient. Yeah, we were talking about this, weren't we, really? About how it would be a really super tractor. It would. I mean, the Swather has also got the same kind of build, as in like the sort of that. So has, this is something I recognised in the Mover, actually, first, and I thought, oh, that kind of wheels in this, something stupendous. That front wheel is the same kind of wheel. It rotates like 360, almost. So it makes the ability of this to sort of spin on a dime. Obviously, it's got back wheels as well, which that obviously gives it a turning circle at that point. And again, turning circle is all about, your axle length. Now, this is the bit where it's going to get interesting. We'll jump in and see what's going to happen. And then we're going to show Mike that it's not actually that difficult to do as he's making it out. Really, it's not rocket science, this particular kind of maneuver. It's actually quite easy. But he says as he nearly takes the fender. Oh, it's very easy, honestly. Yeah, no damage was done to the fend at all. As the old saying goes, pride comes before a fall. Yeah, I wasn't trying to be. But it is true. It does. It is. If the cap fits, wear it. It's. If the cap fits, wear it. Even. Seriously. Right. Yeah, so I did recognise in this all along, I think you'll find that you probably need to drop your bail off. That's why you're not actually picking all this straw up. I'm not very good at concentrating on... be careful, don't roll onto the road a bit more properly. Yeah, I was... The other thing I was thinking was about the bail pusher pointing on the front. I thought, no, it would be nice to make this... My telly's rebelling, it's trying to switch off. Yeah, it would be nice to make something like this, a tractor based upon this kind of thing, only maybe a little higher, where you're not going to jump into major... Have you not dropped your... Oh, I thought I had, and I obviously lifted it. Typical. Yeah, if you know there's a sort of a roughly ideal form factor, like a small tractor, I always find small tractors that have the best agility, which is why I made the Orion into a really big horsepower, but always said I was not going to change any weight or anything like that, because I wanted it to represent a true what a light but powerful tractor actually was. And I don't regret that. It's a really good, strong tractor that I've played on quite a few Let's Plays now, and always love using the Fortis, as I call the Orion. Yeah, it's a really good tractor, but I wanted not to take the fantastic ability. The thing that's sadly lacking in a lot of the real monster tractors that we've got in the game is they're all beastly, but you could run rings around them with a little tractor, or you can, if you really want to sort of see a contest, pit any of those beasts against the Sintrack. Even my favourite, the beautiful, absolutely amazing tractor, which is a lot of people's favourites. And again, both my Fortis and the Sintrack would absolutely make it look such a fool, because it's just rubbish where steering's concerned. Obviously, it's really based upon the case, and I don't think Mac Truck has actually done any steering. I don't think he has. I've never really noticed, unless he's done something recently, but yeah, I've never really noticed. Now then, let's try and think. I don't want to like leave bales all over the place, and I don't want to leave them on the field because we could actually get on with the and we could actually put them on the field opposite. Not going to get too many. So I'm not sure about my straw. Doesn't seem to be any bigger, whereas my grass bales were 1,000 litres more, which is a bit odd. Yeah. So I need to see what that is about. No, I did pick. I do it automatically, but the trouble is, again, I'm used to. We've all got patterns that we like go by, and mine is that visual sort of pattern that I need to see that my thing is dropped, and like it throws my confidence out if I can't see it, because I'm used to that being part of my sequence of like that is the process. As I'd said, I have got a brain that is very good and always has been very good at systems. It is sort of probably my number one skill, and I do think a lot of it does stem from your childhood, the things that you learn. When I was games mastering, from stuff like that, your analytics and all of that type of stuff, and your ability to organise. Now you may think, and I am terribly messy, but that doesn't mean to say I haven't got a system of even I have limits where I'll like think that's just too much, get it sorted, and I'll just have a mad clean-up, or but I also, well, I don't know about this, my memory's also imperfect, so therefore I do definitely forget where things are. But it's a weird, I don't exactly forget, because you'll have seen it even on this Let's Play. I'll say, oh, where did I leave the thing? Oh yeah, I remember, it's over there. I don't remember straight away. Ooh, okay, so give it a minute. Let it have a go first. If it says blocked for about 20 seconds, then you really need to worry. Although I think it does go off after a bit. It's sort of like as if to say, well, I've given you this clue for long enough. So if it doesn't clear in about now, then I think we'll probably really have to treat it like it's definitely blocked by an object. So let's go and have a look. We've nearly done this anyway. We have, yeah. Now Jack seems to definitely be snarled in something. Well, maybe. Not exactly. Well, you've got to be honest. If this was any other map maker that had left a tree on the corner, you would be like saying, ooh. Yeah, I would, it's true. Yeah, I would. This is definitely true. Out of respect for Blacksheep modding, I won't say what I normally would. Actually, though, I've got to be honest. Let's be totally truthful. This is not the real corner. No. Ooh, it's also got a... Yeah. We want to... No, it's... If we're going to, like, do the choppy thing for this. So this is not Blacksheep modding's fault. And I'm not going to, like, say that it is. Because, actually, I changed the corner. So there's only one person to blame in this instance, and that would be myself. So it shouldn't be a problem anymore. No, it is true. It is one of those things I was talking about, corners and trees in FS25. I mean, they've never really met in any game, but on FS25 they really don't at all meet. So yeah, it's a bad mistake. Right, let's get this finished and get over to that field. No, you did have it down. Yeah, so credit where credit's due, and it's true as well. I mean, and I'm not... What I mean is, it's a little bit like I said, obviously, JM Gaming is a friend, and I would be frank with him. I've always been a bit frank with him, because I always respected his work to the point where I was always taught, if you're going to be a real friend to someone, you need to be prepared to have a conversation where you could lose your friendship because you're trying to protect your friend. You know, like it's a little bit like his missus is cheating on him. He's going to probably thump you in the face because you're the one who told him, but you can't not tell your friend something that's going to be that damaging. You've got to. And if he falls out with you, if you're the catalyst, he might do for a bit, but a good friend... Oh, you're doing it again. A good friend may well in time come round and realise, well, actually, you know, I really did treat him badly. And if he doesn't come around like that, then he wasn't really a good friend. And that's my point. You really do find out your real friends in times of trouble, but because a lot of people, they don't stand up for you ever. They don't, like, they just, yeah, they say they're friends, but friends show by actions that they really are friends. And like a friend, you, as I said, a true friend is not a fair weather friend, as the world even recognises that some friends are just, they're not really friends. And we often, I mean, I'm a terror for it. I'll talk about so many people as friends, and what I mean is like, well, this is a person I knew at school I classed as a non-hostile entity, otherwise known as what I would call a friend. It's not really necessarily a friend, but I classify way too many people as friends that are really more acquaintances, but I feel I'm stripping them of dignity by categorizing them as like not friends. So which is why I categorize them as friends. Now, why have you missed? What is that? What's this about? Why did it miss that entire section? Let's ask her. Why did you miss this first section on the left, young lady? Because I actually started you on that, and then you like went, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go somewhere completely different. It might not actually, it wasn't this young lady, it was another driver. Right, okay. Yeah, it's not even got the... Yeah, the only time you could really go wrong with this is if you're at the blue marker, the start marker, because you'll start them thinking you're starting in the right place, and they'll then move to the next headland, and that way you can actually miss this kind of like start. But really, there was no excuse for this one because it's just an up. It's like the first headlands, so I really no idea why it would like, unless I told it to go back to the first. Yeah, I didn't do the. No, it's doing it again. Why is it not? Why is it not picking it up for the worker? It might not do it for me. I'm not going to take over those, but it's definitely something not right, is there? And we can see it's good. Well, I didn't expect this. So they didn't miss. They're just missing somehow. This is a bit odd, isn't it? Right, okay. Well, in that case, let's go grab the plough. I want to see how good this plough's without the front weights. Yeah, I do. I'm interested to see, because it did carry it all right. Have we done the animals this morning? Did we do it last session? I think we did. I got everything ready so that it would minimise what the future Mr. Smith would have to do as just a straw. And I think we could actually do that next. Oh, I apologise. Yeah, I keep having to stop quite a bit. So this is nearly there now. There's just one. Yeah, I mean, I came in and thought, oh, it'll be finished. I thought, will it? You know, modding. I doubt very much you're going to get away with this being as finished. Yeah, the lip's not too bad. Yeah, that's all right, because you leave... yeah, even little lips. I've seen little lips defeat all manner of mods. That if the little lips, yeah, bridges on, oh, that map that I was talking about, oh, what is it called? Yeah, I remember Hazelnut Farm. It's, I should remember it, but I say, yeah, it's my word brain is just at the minute awful. It's this COVID, this particular virulent strain, it sort of fights your And yeah, this is a little particularly nasty one. This one also fights your not only your analytics but also emotionally. Gordon Bennett, there was some real, almost makes you, I'm not terribly depressed. What I mean is, I don't mean I don't have moments, but I don't particularly struggle with that kind of mental health issue. But it sort of was very dark at times, and I thought, this is the COVID playing tricks. This is, and I thought it is. It's definitely. I was telling a friend about this, and I think I might have even mentioned it on here. COVID is also very clever at like programming you, like letting you think that you're winning. Yeah, like the battle's nearly over, and have a bit of fun and let your hair down and use a bit of energy because you've nearly got me beat. It's a ruse. It is. It sort of like lures you into. And if you listen to what it's saying, obviously, and you start to like go out in the garden and you do a bit, and before long, 4 hours have gone, and then the COVID like goes ha 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 ha, and it just literally jumps on you and reminds you that actually it was kidding. It is terrible. It is. It's a real game player, and I've never, obviously. There's quite a lot of, I did say this, I think it was yesterday actually, a lot of illnesses have got these pre-programmed behaviours where, like you're going to feel this and for so long, and then this is going to happen for so long. But this is quite new to me. It took me a couple of times of having COVID to realise, and I'm like thinking, this thing is sort of telling me that everything's hunky-dory. And it's not at all. I'm not going to listen. But what I mean is, I recognise the pattern. So I thought, right, okay, well, I'm not taking any notice of you lying critter. Right, how did that go? Because I did put a bit of painting around there. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's worked well. Ooh, big stones. Careful, because I don't want to ram raid any. Ooh, that was more by look than judgment. Alright, so what is blocked? It could be me. I could have left the baler in the way. It's quite possible that could be the problem. And we're going to take over in a minute and see why that patch is not. We could go from the top of the field. Oh, I don't know. Let's have a look. Oh. Well, that's bizarre. Why did it miss this when we set it out here about 5 minutes ago? This is really weird. I don't get why. It's almost gone back to the beginning, and I checked, it was on nearest, so there was no reason why it shouldn't have done that. So when it was zipped around here, we're going to zip right back and see, well, can we actually do this? And if so, why is Courseplay being such a wally? Right. Why did it make such a mess there? See, it's been here before, so I don't get it. Why is it now tidying up the mess it should have done already? I have no idea. These are definitely very valid concerns for a system that you've learnt to trust. It is true, I was saying this, and this is another important aspect of humanity. Why the other reason, I think a lot of us possibly feel very bad. Giants built up a degree of trust in myself in FS19, although I have got to be honest, FS19 was perhaps on the day of release the worst of any iterations of Farming Simulator that I've seen. On day one, those poor content creators, what they had to put up with FS19, those early access how could Giants expect anyone to make that look good? It was that messy. I'm like, well done all of you for like making that look so well, not making it look too bad, because to be honest, if that would have been me, I'd have been like, how can I make this look so... You see, yeah, there was no excuse. Why did that... Now, I've got to be honest, we did see the header was down, so why was it not actually getting the soybeans? I don't get what the problem was. Very strange. But what I mean is, I have no idea why Courseplay that was on and the header was down wasn't like threshing the crop, because we clearly are. So yeah, I'll get back to what my point was. Yeah, obviously there is a degree of trust in anybody who there's been a certain amount of trust engendered by their actions in the past, and that can be true of a modder, a friend, a lover, you know, there's someone, because obviously any relationship can be broken through words, actions, you know, all of these type of things will in time, bad actions on any part will affect a relationship. And I know we all know this is, no, I'm not trying to teach my grandmother to suck eggs. We all know this is true and valid. But what I'm saying is, I think FS25 was a train wreck from the beginning, and yet sold as though it was brilliant. Sold as if everything was okay, and we were all imagining that the game was messy and broken and bad. And then, of course, you get these continual positive spins where, you know, like Giants going on about free content, and you like think, well, actually, it's not really free, Giants. We all paid for it. Everybody who paid for the season pass has already paid for that content, so I can't understand. Yeah, I mean, what's all this mess about here on the left? It's done this ages ago. It really is messy. It's like Giants have been trying to do an update, and it's like trying to change the behaviour, but it's not properly taken. Because Courseplay still does plug into that core system of like the basic movements that the worker does. Right, okay. Now, it's slow at times when it's steering. So, although I say about this, I've always said this though, although this can use this header, this is the maximum size of a header that this can, and obviously there's a grain. The corn header, the max you'll get out of this is a 9 meter, but it will manage that almost perfectly. So possibly for this, the perfect size would be something like an 11.5 meter, where it might actually get, I mean, it is at 6 miles an hour on a flat or going downhill, but uphill it will, you know, which is a test on any sort of header anyway. So, but it definitely is far more capable than a 6 meter header that this comes with. Far more. And it is just as capable if you have the original. Yeah, I mean, there are certain ranges of horsepower that would take this to the next size header, and I haven't done that. I think this is a 277 and the original is something like a 265 or 260 or 268 or something like that. So what I've done is not taken it to the limits to go into another header capacity where it's like 450 or something like that, and it will then handle a 13 meter or... So what I mean is, although I might have done that, it's not, I've not done anything stupendous. Right, so can we set this going? Let's just empty it first before we do that. And then I would say this will probably... Yes, I didn't expect this actually to get us a full amount. Right, let's just grab the trailer. Let's reverse a little. What's behind us? Ooh, yeah, I think we just about do it. Yeah, so apologies. The farm always intrudes, and then half the time I forget what I was even talking about. Especially at the minute, it's even worse than normal. Yeah, so trust, basically. I think that most of us feel hugely let down by giants. A company that are living in cloud cuckoo land, that everything's hunky-dory and that there's not a fault with anything that they've touched, period. Whereas the rest of us are playing in the reality of, yeah, I did notice she was about to finish, are playing in the reality of a rather broken game where the owner of that game is like not admitting to said problem. Yeah, the one thing I have increased is the speed of the unload. It's a pet hate of mine with harvesters. I love JHHGs, but I'm like thinking, for heaven's sake, will you speed up? Oh, you're going to do a twiddle, aren't you? Seriously? Why would you do that? Why would you, like, just not go forwards? Gordon Bennett. You absolute pain in the backside. Right. Brilliant. So we need the stone picker. We may as well at least do something properly. Well, it obviously did not struggle. It's in the right horsepower range, and its ability to stay low and everything is enough to offset the weight of a plough of that kind of magnitude, which to me personally, this is an important thing. You know, it is, you can feel it is like pulling it backwards a little, but its low centre of gravity, look how low it is enough to keep that from like stop tipping. Now if I did this with a Rex, which is a very similar weight, I'm sorry, but the Rex will need a serious weight on the back. Yeah, so I know, I'm not ignoring the fact we've got these other tractors. This is a choice to actually like see. Now then, we've left that out, haven't we? So, well, we've got that in there, haven't we? Yeah, now this is true. This is interesting because, no, Blacksheep Modding will have already tested this. It does fit in there. It does. It will go in. The Blacksheep Modding's a modder. Not, he's made mistakes. We can see that. But what I mean is, he is a modder that is thorough and things like that, and knows his stuff. So he's a human being, so of course he can make mistakes. We can see that. That is not working, the manure. But again, is it down to Blacksheep Modding, or is it down to something in the game? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. Because, again though, Oxygen David I would class as a master too. And no, we ought to sort of be checking the water as well. In fact, we could be sensible and stick this and make a bit of lime with it. Yeah, I wanted to test it on this because I'm not sure how it can cope with something like this, whether the worker... Yeah, it's also see, can it unload stone? Because obviously there's load and unload triggers. And each one of those comes with, like, you could say a sensor, you could say, which is what, like, switches this on. That's the whole thing of a trigger, is to say, you know, oi, here I am, and then, oh, have you got what I, you know, can you take this that I'm chucking in now? And it would say dump if the answer's yes, simple as. And obviously the other one wasn't doing that, but it has done for some things. So some are in the trigger for whatever that is. So I need to check. We need a bit of fuel, so we may as well. This has been heavily used, to be honest. More than I would have done, because I do like not to favour any, even my favourite tractors. I like to work in an order, systemise most things, so that your best tractors left till last. Apologies, there'll be a few lost frames on that one. Yes, I'd like to see, can this cope, the workers cope with this without a weight on the front? Or is it like that you'd want to have a weight? Because so far I'm reasonably impressed with this. Let's have a look. Let's just at least see you put your arms down and see how you perform. Whether there's a lot of squiggling, because when I used it, I had to battle with it a lot. And the workers might not be able to cope with that. They don't seem to... No, he's not veering or anything. They've really... The workers are weird, though. There's like a stress limit that they hit that giants tell them, no, give in. Whereas you as a person can go a little bit further before the thing breaks. before you realise can't do it. But the workers give up a lot easier for some reason. I know it's a... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to jump in and I was trying to enter, not actually... Yeah, it was on enter. Okay, let's pull back a little. No, what are you doing? Gordon Bennett. Yeah, it would be my fault. Hold your horses and don't get in a considered twist, as the old saying goes. Gordon Bennett. Right. Let's just crack on and do a bit more bailing, because we've got plenty to go at now. Are we down? We are now. Right, so then let's get a bit more wood. I think this time, otherwise it's going to be a very long session. I'm going to go into a bit of a time lapse. Yeah, did I finish though what I was on about? Yeah, really, I think so. Trust that I think... I know mine is in tatters with giants, and I think this sort of modern where people don't acknowledge that they've even made a mistake when like they've made a huge one makes the matter even worse, because it's sort of inhuman to not apologize for making mistakes. But we live in a time where this is actually what we can expect from companies, because you know, all the big companies, Apple, there's Bumpergate, lots of companies went through similar things where they didn't admit that their phone had an error, that if you held it in a certain way that it would stop the aerial from working. Not just Apple, yeah, it was Google, Sony, quite a few, I think LG, there's definitely a few. I remember, like, so we could, I suppose, go through this bit of a break. No, let's just stick it on the edge, we'll grab them in a bit. Ooh, okay. Have we got our... Did I raise it? Yeah, I did. Yeah, honest. Honest, Gavner. Yeah, it's... I think so, because, again, I don't want to, like, harp on for ages and ages, and I've got to be honest, this is what I was sort of on about, but I think this is just me being frank and really reasoning on why I feel like I do, and I suppose, yeah, I always love to hear from yourselves. So, am I being unreasonable, really? You know, because I think the other thing is an acknowledgement and that you've done something wrong gives you an opportunity to forgive somebody, whether that was a company or not. It's a process of forgiveness. It's strangely enough, it's one of the most misunderstood mechanisms out there, because forgiveness is really more for you than it is the person you're forgiving. Because otherwise what you're really doing is you're allowing the weight of whatever thing they did, and it could be something terribly serious, murder, rape, all of those type of things. They're really terrible, and you think, well, I'm not going to forgive that person. You're not really forgiving them, you're moving on. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not, please don't think for 1 minute I'm in any way trying to minimise the pain of any of these events, especially something like murder or rape. No, rape is equally terrible a crime. It's a forced thing that shouldn't ever be done. There's no consent. There's just so many levels why that is so wrong. And of course, because of that, because of the magnitude of how wrong it is on so many levels, that's the degree of the pain that it actually causes. It's still a system. It's still got a magnitude of the event that is occurring, which is so wrong on so many levels, and you are still have a full thing. So what I'm saying is, yeah, the forgiveness side of it is not really... Yeah, no, I did. I did say it's almost automatic. I do raise. It's just... Yeah, the magnitude of the events, whatever it is, even as serious as murder, you don't get much more horrible than that. A victim, you know, the parent or mother of a child that's lost, or even an older child, you know, like one of your children that's an adult, it's happened an awful lot. And some are double, because it's like young ladies that have travelled to the back of beyond, and then their bodies are never found, and you like think, well, that was probably not just murder. It's probably because a lot of these things are sexual predators, you know, like, and there's movies made about monsters and things like that, aren't there? I refuse to watch them, but it seems to be like de-leveling monsters into the form of entertainment. I'm thinking, I don't know that I really want to go there as a human being. I just think it could be rather damaging to try and minimise that into a system, and I realise that would put me at loggerheads with a lot of people, but I've never been afraid to speak my mind. You've got to, I think you've got to stand up for each one of us. If you wish to keep integrity of any level, really, you've got to stay true to that integrity, haven't you, really, and what you really believe, or else you've not got any integrity. If you're an amorphous entity that just wanders around doing whatever it wants like a jellyfish, then you've got no backbone and you're just going to do whatever you want to do, aren't you, really? Including murder and rape and things like that, because there are no rules for you, and that obviously they're the kind of people, they're the ones who perpetrate that kind of thing, that don't have any kind of moral compass. That doesn't mean to say they didn't have. Yeah, no, I was sort of strangely enough, I know you might think, well, how do you know all this? Some of my favourite people in the world are actually psychologists. I've got some friends, I mean colleagues, but they're, you know, very friendly with myself. And obviously, it's if there was one thing I really did want when I was younger, and it probably was, that I might have wanted to be a psychologist, but it's like, right, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, no, I think it's literally Gianurso has reached the end. That looks about right to me. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, it'll be the fact that it took displeasure at where we'd started it, and so therefore missed a bit. Because that definitely looks right. Right, okay. Well, we're doing the veiling anyway, so it's for once, this doesn't matter. I mean, normally I'd be, like, annoyed because, like, it would mean the baler wouldn't follow the bail path properly. But I think it's missed that bottom bit as well. So why did it... No, I will have started it in the wrong place. It's a system that's very reliable unless you bump into it, and then you might find it might never start again in the same place. You might have to start it all over again. It's a very reliable system unless you know, like, do the parameters incorrectly. Yeah. So I've got quite a few friends who are, and obviously I listen because I love to learn, and I don't believe I need a bit of paper to tell me that I do this, that, or the other, or because people learnt to be a doctor by watching other doctors. There's no better way to learn from someone else. But you don't really, I mean, even society recognises the fact you need your degree in to be a doctor. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a good one. It just means you're a doctor the world recognises you've got the ability to practice. And there are many nurses and also paramedics that we often see on television where they've observed a doctor doing it and they are competent and confident that they could do that. And if some of these people will even endanger their job because they recognise that to turn their back on that human being when they know they could do it is just... I mean, I don't think doctors do the Hippocratic Oath anymore, do they? No, it was still folded. So they're not bound by that. But what I'm trying to say is, and that's a convenience, because it's not made things better. It's made things worse. Again, an opinion, but... Yeah, I mean, but then again, I think America's a prime example, has been made a bit of a... It's industrialised. It should never be... Health should never be equated with cost, and unfortunately, Americans are the one who cornered the market with that one. and Britain is determined to follow closely in America's wake and do almost everything the way that America would want these things to be done. So it's, yeah, I mean, we seem to be, I don't know how long it'll be before we are like America in that sort of way, but you can see Britain did something very similar. Yeah, and again, listening to America, they made. Oh no, it's not finished yet. I know it's good, but it's not that good. Right, so 26,989 litres. Not bad for soybeans. I'm not being nasty. We all know it's a terrible crop. We would have probably got about 70,000 litres of wheat from the same sort of field, so it's seriously bad. I think we're going to need to do the baling. I could set the baler going on its own while we just finish off, and now we put this in and do that type of thing. So let's just shift, and we can like sort of at least, because it's not like we're not working. So let's just grab the baler, grab that off the field first. Or even put it heavily on the edge, and it's not going to be in the way then. Mind you, we could, I suppose, get the ploughing done as well. We could go on the grass field, it's not that far away. I love the fact this is on a bank as well. The levels on this is quite amazing. It sort of shows Blacksheep mod. And this is I am a fan, obviously. We all know this, but also it's acknowledgement of when you look at another master's, and I don't mean that I'm a master, it's a master's workmanship and the things, the degree of mastery, like levels and all that type of stuff, and realistic textures, all that type of stuff. Because the human brain, I've said this before, has an amazing ability to pick out things that are wrong. There's a lot of maps I'll go and I think that's a bit bad, isn't it? You know what I mean? And there's little tiny things can seriously like knock things out of whack that, you know, would otherwise be all right. Right, I think we can set that going now. So we need to set this with this course, which is, no, it's not on field 12, so field 12, 12.2 metre, clear, load. And if we say nearest, in fact, yeah, let's say first, tell it to start again, because I'm just going to leave it trundling. Yeah, there's a few times recently I've actually just like trundled on and let the worko even work after the session's gone, because I am recognising that type of thing. There's a bit of a pattern, and you'd sort of expect so many bales, and if there was 600 bales in that field, you would know that I had cheated. Whereas you'd probably expect, especially now that I think that straw's another thing that's been nerfed. I don't think we'll get that many bales off it anyway, and if we did, then you would seriously think, well, yeah, he's definitely cheated. That's what I'm saying, and I know that myself. And there's also, if you leave the bales on the field and sort of take a screenshot, you can pretty much see from that of whether or not that you would agree that that was legit. So I tend to do that now on a few tasks like this, because it was mainly baling was one of the worst things that I have seen massive cheating going on by certain content creators, where you think, oh, come on, they go 900 million bales in rows like that. It's just so not real. But again, some people love that kind of sensationalism, don't they? Of, you know, like 6 million bales produced, and you're like, right, I would have liked to have seen that one. Have you got any evidence of this fact, other than the fact that there's I mean, I've got to be honest though, with that kind of row upon row upon row upon, the time involved on getting things to look like that is absolutely tremendous. You know, what I'm saying is someone who's willing to spend 6 hours getting bales lined up with an Anderson, you're like thinking, I'd have sooner rather done the actual what you've done, you know, like than what you've actually done. You must have spent 6 hours doing all of that. Now, has the water... Yeah, has the water, like, finished on that? Let's have a look how we're doing with water. Why have I lost my sound? Why has that lost my headset sound? Right, apologies everyone. I'm just going to swap my speaker from my headset to... Yeah, because I did this early. It's been on actually for a while, so it could just be... No, it's just disconnected. Right, let's just swap to my... No, let's not do any advertising. It should now swap over. Although the game does have errors too. No, that is working, I can see. It is amazing with comments like that, isn't it? Because you're not seeing, it's all you're hearing. You sometimes use another sense as reference point. You know, like to talk about the sense. Or I think it's still... No, I think you've finally filled it. So I would imagine if that's not going out a lot anymore, yeah, that it's probably filled all of the things it needs to fill. Now, we need to send this... Oh, we can actually get past this, can't we? We've tried it already. Let's stick the soy in. The last piece of the puzzle. Didn't we actually buy some to start us? Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, because I didn't want to wait any longer. I thought it was unfair. I remember saying how expensive it was, but this is legitimately ours. Well, I do insist that, you know, it's got to mean something for the farm. You've got to put effort in, haven't you, really? I think, anyway. Otherwise, it's sort of like, if we can just buy things and just make things willy-nilly, then you can soon just buy your way to success. Which, of course, some people do in real life as well. But, right. I think we've already told this to soybeans to go, because I would imagine we probably did this last time. I would imagine. Yeah. So let's have a look at all of our processes, and then I'm going to sling my hook because it has been a fairly long session. So this should be now... Yeah, so I thought that would nearly have filled. So that's happy to distribute. We are going to have to get some wood to that. So it means we're going to have to do a bit of chopping down the trees. Now this is the thing I was talking about this, yeah, and then like something happened, and of course my mind wandered, and I didn't finish it off. Now I've got boarding factories and things like that. Now I was thinking, couldn't I, like, I've got OSB outside board, chipboard and things like that. I thought, couldn't you have artificial wood? What I mean by that is the wood process is like you're burning it, so does it matter? It's like, what I mean is, I could convert my wood chips to wood through a process where you're gluing it together, and it would really become something like that they call OSB, which is very, very tight-knit, thick chipboard with very big sections and very strong, meant even to be reasonably handle bad weather. So it's as close to wood as you could get, obviously, in a specific shape. So what I'm trying to say is, to all intents, it's only going to be burned. Giants might not accept it, but I'd be quite happy to, as long as I'm having one OSB to one wood. The true thing is to try to think, well, how much wood is wood? I mean, is 1,000 litres one wood? And that's to me is the real enigma of how does that work. And I might do a bit of digging, because what I might do is we'd have to stick... Well, actually, I suppose this is a job. I always call this the self-sufficiency, but this has not got anything like that. But I've also got a boarding factory, which that would be, I would think, would be one of those processes that could actually handle. I want to try to keep things in at least proper parented mods, you know, like where this is all to do with that and that's all to do with this is all to do with boarding, this is all to do with straw. The only crossover I've got is a super mud fabricator. I was determined at the beginning not to do any specialisms apart from the soup. I thought, give it the soup, because I love that. It's the first mod I did that taught me so much that Giants sort of did, was the soup factory, where I amalgamated it into the noodles and all of that type of stuff. So I took that factory and I amalgamated the soups into it, and I was quite chuffed with that, because that was quite early on, and it taught me a lot. So again, these are all little tricks you learn. So this is the only exception, but I'm still not going to like give it superpowers where it's going to gain this and it's going to gain that and it's going to gain the other. So it's already got a couple of those, the convert flour and stuff like that, going and convert oil and olives and all that type of stuff. I don't want to give it any. Is that one a difficult one? If it's a bit of a converter, because you're only converting, it's not actually got a major job. I don't know, I would say for more than anything, it would be like the bionic mini self-sufficiency, but again, it's got nothing like that. So I think it's more a boarding thing. I don't really want to go to that. So again, I think we'd have to put one of them down for the conversion process. And I think that's what I was sort of thinking about. Right, anyway, the session has been long. So we are up to 513,574. Let's have a quick look so we can see the pattern over on our field of how those bales are looking in relation to... Yeah, you can start to see roughly a pattern, roughly, you know, where those bales are. It's done a good job actually already. Yeah, amazing. So there's going to be a few bits one moment approaching quite shortly where that's going to like bump into that bale, but I think it could probably get away with that. Right, so that's where we're going to leave it. It's been a monster session. We've been busy. We've done our soybeans. No, let's just finish this off. Yeah, we could. I did that thing again where I have a mental burp. So we checked that one. That's good. We talked about that, the wood, which is where I went off track. So the food grade crushed ices, we've not got any salmon trap, but I think this was all falling down due to the Superfish Food Factory, which has now got a bit of flour. So this is actually working. It's got an awful lot of soybeans, a load of sunflower oil, a bit of olive oil, and loads of canola. So the olive oil was the bit that's the least, but then there are 3 different foods, so it doesn't really matter. There's the big important one is the amount of soybeans, and we have obviously with the... did we do 2 lots? We might have done. Yeah, I can't remember. I know we just added a lot, but I can't remember the amount. So fish processing, chilled salmon trout, keep. Might have actually got a box outside. The hatchery. Have we switched that on? No. So we've got that one. Obviously, we have got the fish feed production here, but we've got one already, so you wouldn't do that again. That one is on and distribute. So where is that going to then? We'd have to, I think, pop over there and see what we can actually see. So let's actually visit and see. Are there any boxes outside already? Well, we can see the fish, which is fantastic. And is this the actual food that we've made? I mean, you know, like the representation of the fact that the food's here, or what? I mean, we need to like be going around here, I would say, to see the different things. Can this open? I'd imagine it would. Or maybe not. Very authentic. I've got to be honest. I'm impressed. Yeah, I mean, we've all seen like fish shops. It's something a lot of people are interested in. Fish processing, chilled salmon trout, materials missing. Okay. Well, there's plenty of fish foody type things going on, and there's like robot arms and all manner of things. Pelouse Production Artisanale. Okay, I think the bits we're supposed to go in, we've gone into. So surely... Fish feed production. Oh yeah, this is the one we're not using. Food ice cube manufacturing. So, yeah, as far as we're done, I can't see any, like, physical things that are actually doing any outputting. It's like the process is broken in a certain place. Where is it broken then? We've only just switched that on, so that one... So there's the fish hatchery. So this is making fish food, that we can see, and it's distributing. So maybe it's only just started. I suppose that's the real true matter. So we need to do the fish smokehouse is one element that we've not done. It won't stop all of it because it's not the only thing. The chilled salmon trout will go on to that, and there are no salmon trout at the minute. But then again, if they've only just been started to feed, the grade crushed ice is working, so that proves that's good. Fish food, we've only just switched that on. And it is we don't know that it's going to accept my fish food, even though the icons are the same, which does really mean the game is seeing it as the right one. So it should work. So really, I think it's a matter of time. I think it's just, yeah, time is needed to be caught up so the processors start cracking on. There's like food things, and you can see that the trout and that are in there. So it's definitely working. So that is not a bad place. I just wanted to sort of show you what's cracking off, and obviously it's not completely there yet, but we are getting there. So all that remains to be said this time, honestly, is thank you very much for watching. Truly do hope you're going to stick with me on this journey, and I'm going to say goodbye for now.